All right, so I was kind of looking back the other day, and this isn't something I really think about often, but I just know that, oh man, it's windy. Uh, I just always remember that I went vegan in April 2016 because people tend to ask me whenever I did so, and it was kind of a transition. I don't really know like the exact time where I was like, okay, like I'm gonna be vegan. It's just I kind of learned about it and just slowly just once you get educated about something, it just kind of changes your behavior automatically. You just kind of adapt, and habits can tend to fall off. Habits can tend to fall off. But yeah, then I realized like April 2016 was 5 years ago, which is crazy. Crazy to think about that it's been 5 years. And that's really that's a fourth of my life. It's kind of crazy to think that I've been vegan for a fourth of my life. So I kind of wanted to talk about that today, and animals really. Well, so this stuff like I talk about on my channel, like the meditation and everything, the meditation and spirituality stuff, and that started about a year ago, but I've kind of been concerned about how can I optimize how I live for many years before that, and it's just manifested in different ways. And one of those ways being that I was really interested in nutritional science and fitness as well, health and fitness really, and what's the best way to go about that. So around early high school, I wanted to kind of like build muscle too. I wanted to build muscle, stay lean. I was like much skinnier back then, like much less athletic. And I was just trying to find the best information about what's the best diet. Because, that's still something that's so convoluted today. There's so much just bullshit about diets out there still today. Even you could walk into Walmart and just in the checkout aisle there's these weight loss magazines, lose 40 pounds in 1 hour or something. No, but it's like lose 40 pounds in a week, like just something ridiculous and stupid, and people still buy that stuff because it's kind of sad like how little the average person knows about nutrition, like the actual science, I would say. And there's what I'm talking about is like fad diets. Just there's so much. If you're trying to get started with it, it just seems like there's so much you have to go through, and that's kind of what I went through as well. I didn't always like start off plant-based. Like I was trying to eat more like meat and eggs and dairy and stuff because I thought I needed more protein. I had to build muscle with that. But after actually like digging through a lot of science, just watching a lot of debates, this is something I was gonna say. This is something that if you're really interested in like argumentation and logical kind of things, I guess, and reasoning and fallacies, this is something I'm kind of interested in, honestly. I think if you're interested in politics, you might kind of be interested in that as well. These kind of just arguments and debates. This is an area where that occurs very prevalently. You can just see people going back and forth debating about it, and it's really clever, like some of the arguments and things, and it's not just as obvious as you would think. And I'm not as savvy in that nutritional science as I am. I'm not as savvy right now in that nutritional science as I was before, just because I kind of learned and just tried to figure out, okay, what's the best way to eat, and then I just started eating that way, and it's just been my lifestyle since then. I just forgot about it. I don't think about it anymore. I just have been eating the same way for the last 5 years. But I think anyone who's interested in a plant-based diet, well, it's very easy to find information online. If you want to actually look at the actual science, you can. And I think YouTube is a good place to start, honestly. That's where I started. It's just watching people talk about it and just debating other people about different aspects of nutrition. And I'm sure, most of the people watching this video, they have, their reasons of why a vegan diet is bad and why like eating animal products is important. And I encourage you to look into those specifically and see, like, are you really right about those things that you may just have held on to this misconception for a long time because eating animal products is so ingrained in our culture. And well, like, I didn't prepare to talk about the actual science or logic behind eating a plant-based diet. That's not what I was kind of aiming for with this video, but I'm just gonna kind of put that as like a given, that I can see for myself, and I think a lot of people have seen for themselves, that just as a human being, eating plant-based is the most optimal for sure, health-wise. The number one killers in America are heart disease, diabetes, and preventable cancers that are related to diet. And heart disease and diabetes, most of those cases are very related to diet. And yeah, I think this is something that is kind of changing now, but a lot of people before they thought that weight loss was very much controlled by exercise rather than diet. But now we know how much more of an impact that changing your diet has on your body composition compared to exercise. It's kind of insane. Like, really, you can be sedentary or just walk a little bit every day and eat plant-based and you'll be lean. If you're eating the foods with the right caloric density. I would say in general, that's what happens, just because of the caloric density of plant-based foods compared to animal products. Yeah, so that's kind of the nutritional side of things. I might circle back to that if I think of anything that I kind of missed with regards to that. But well, another really big aspect of it is first of all, I think this is a little bit less of an important aspect. It's the environment. If you look at how much of an impact that eating animal products has on the environment, it's actually insane. If everyone ate like a paleo diet, I think there's like a stat that says if everyone ate a paleo diet, we would need like 3 Earths to sustain that level of animal product consumption. But yeah, so the other side of it was, so I got into this because I was interested in health and fitness. But the other side of it is the ethics, the animal ethics behind the situation. And well, that's something that a lot of people don't really think about that much. But I knew it always felt weird for me because I would see people with pet dogs and pet cats, and I never had a pet growing up, just kind of like because of my family's culture, but just certain preferences of certain family members. But I want a cat whenever I get older. That's gonna be great. But yeah, that really never made sense to me, that to see people like how much they love like a dog or a cat, how much attachment they have to it. Some people, they see it as almost like their own family member. And then yet, like, farm animals somehow are just different, you know, they're eating animals, they're just meant to be different somehow. And it's actually crazy, like a pig is as intelligent as a 3-year-old child, and most people don't really realize those things. It's more intelligent than a dog even. But yeah, I don't know how there's that disconnect really between people having pets and then just not even blinking an eye with farm animals, especially like I'm talking about like factory farming. What I watched first is I watched these videos about factory farming, and that is just, it's hell. It's like if you watch it, it looks like hell. Whatever's occurring is hellish. I don't think there's any debate about that. Oh, there's a bug. It's I don't really want to think about it too much, because it's honestly it's sad to think that that goes on. It's going on right now. It's going on every day, and on a mass scale as well. And the thing is, it's unnecessary, especially it's unnecessary in modern society for sure. If you look at biologically what's optimal for human beings, we're frugivores, and if you look at how animal products affect us, if you look at amino acid profiles, yeah, I said I wouldn't get it too much into the plant-based stuff or the nutritional science, but yeah, those are just kind of some general things. But yeah, so that was a very big aspect for me too, because the thing is, like, if you think about it, okay, if you see that a plant-based diet is more healthy for you, well, you're not going to eat healthy all the time. You know, you still want some days where you can just eat junk food or whatever, or comfort foods. And so what's stopping you, if you just care about the health part, what's stopping you from eating animal products then? Well, for me, why I don't like supporting the animal product industry at all, whenever I can, is because of this animal ethics side of it. And just because, like, I think it's just clear to me that the trade-off between whatever little comfort or convenience I can get from consuming that product is not worth the suffering. Is definitely not worth the suffering that it contributes to the world, really. Yeah, so like I said, I was always interested in how to optimize how I live. I mean, that's really a big goal of meditation, right? You're trying to live better. Improving your mental health and emotional health, or just all the other aspects of it, it's about trying to live better. And yeah, even just whenever I was 15, 16, I just couldn't believe actually that this many people still today in modern society are eating animal products. Honestly, I couldn't, especially in a country like America. I just couldn't believe it that we have all the science. It kind of came out like the main science about plant-based diets. It came out in the 90s and 2000s. And so there's the science aspect, there's the animal ethics aspect, there's the environmental aspect. Really the only reason that you can't counter with logic is that it's inconvenient. And that's true, honestly. I'm not gonna lie and say that it's not inconvenient, because our culture still very much has animal products ingrained into it. It's not easy all the time. I know that for sure. You know, I've been vegan for 5 years, and especially in certain situations or eating out or even, you know, family situations, it's not easy. It's not easy many times. Like dairy is in so many things too, you know. Disregarding meat, even dairy is in so many things. And if you really want to be like a hardcore vegan, you know, then that reminds me of another thing to talk about. But if you really want to be a hardcore vegan, it can get very nuanced and inconvenient. And so I understand that. I understand that it's very inconvenient, and it's not comfortable in many situations. And well, like, I think that's fine to consider. And it's also important to consider that it's not just, oh, whoops, okay. It's not just that you're not vegan and then vegan, and that's the only two levels. Life doesn't work like that. I've eaten animal products on accident. Does that mean like, I've eaten animal products on accident in the last couple of years. Does that mean I'm not vegan? Well, no, like I did it on accident. It doesn't really matter, because it's not the classification that matters. The point of being vegan is to reduce suffering. It's to not support an industry that causes a mass amount of suffering. It's not about following some stupid classification or making some stupid rule. So my point with that is, if you're interested in improving your health and you care, about animal ethics and the environment as well, then you don't have to do a full switch. It can just be eating like one plant-based meal a week, It's just just because you can't do everything doesn't mean you can't do something. I remember telling this to a lot of family members, actually, whenever they were like questioning me and really grilling me about being vegan and just trying to discourage me very much. That's a big thing. Just because you can't do something doesn't mean, or just because you can't do everything doesn't mean you shouldn't do something. Don't think about this too much. I have to remind myself not to think about this too much, but think about how much suffering goes on in the world every day. I mean, in the Middle East, I'm sure you can imagine, you can look up statistics about suicide. I don't think I'm supposed to say this word anymore, RAPE. Just horrible things, that go on every day. And well, does that mean you should just act like a maniac every day? No, because the world doesn't exist for you and you don't exist for the world. So you have to see what's in your control, what's in your circle. And that still matters a lot. That still matters a lot, what you can choose. So, yeah, I think that's an important thing to consider with many different aspects of life. And that's, just because you can't do everything doesn't mean you shouldn't do something. You shouldn't do your part. Because that's special. That's special. And exponentially, it passes on to the other people around you, and then they can control whatever's in their sphere. And it just spreads like that. So you want to spread good things like that rather than bad things. Oh yeah, so another very discouraging aspect about veganism. See, honestly, I don't even like saying the word vegan because of the connotations associated with it, because it's become a certain type of person, This is kind of what I was talking about with spirituality as well. If you say spirituality, then it's associated with a certain type of person. It's associated with a certain type of persona. And that's a very unfortunate thing. I honestly prefer saying like plant-based, but interchangeably I'll use those words. Because, we've all seen those plant-based people, those vegan people who are just very, very negative. They're very hostile. Honestly, many of them are really crazy. Just very extreme. And it's just silly to not consider that, the average person eats animal products. It's just the way it is because it's so ingrained in our culture and it's convenient. And it doesn't mean that they're terrible people just because they do that, because that's how they've grown up, and it's hard to change that. I understand that. So yeah, some people really don't, those extreme people, they really don't consider that. And then I think that really disgusts a lot of people, and it turns a lot of people away from eating plant-based. It's very discouraging because you see these crazy, hostile people just attacking you and trying to tell you to do this or that. And it's a big turnoff. It's a big turnoff. And that's unfortunate that a lot of vegans or plant-based people are like that. And you can see that on YouTube. You can see some crazy people. Sometimes I watch them for entertainment, but yeah, and I think a lot of people that know me, like, a lot of people have known me for a while and they didn't even know I was vegan, like for a long time, and they get surprised. And a lot of people that know me, I'm sure they think too that I don't talk about it that much, because I don't. Because it's not my identity. It's not a personality I have. It's just one part of my life that I think is optimal. And whenever someone's open to it, whenever there's a possibility of changing something, then of course I'm going to express that and try to make a difference. But it's important to consider the needs of other people as well, the other needs of people. And that's for them to have a balanced life, to have a convenient life, to have a comfortable life. So I would just encourage you to just make a small switch. Well, first of all, the sun is messing up my camera a little bit. Well, first of all, look into it for yourself. Understand for yourself why eating plant-based would be good for you. Just try it and see how you feel. And then once you have your own reasons, it's going to be easier to decide. It's going to be easier to see that you like this and this is something that you want to do. And it's just start off with a small change. That's what I did. That's what I did too. And like I said, I didn't decide, all right, today, like I'm ready, I'm going to be vegan. No, like I just cut out animal products, and eventually like I just realized like I have not eaten animal products in a long time, so I guess I'm vegan now. And that's sustainable. That's making it a part of your lifestyle. So yeah, I think in a larger context, existentially and everything, just thinking in a self-aware point of view, whenever I was 15 or 16, after looking at all that information and seeing that it came out a few decades ago, I really couldn't believe that our culture has not changed to reflect these major breakthroughs in science. That animal products are still so prevalent in our culture, and so many people still eat animal products without batting an eye. I honestly couldn't believe it. Like, how many people just roll with it, without questioning what they're doing. It's just, I don't know, it really, I'm not saying, like, this is not a judgment, I'm not trying to judge anyone or anything, but if you just look at the facts, it just makes no sense to eat animal products when you don't consider convenience and comfort. Besides that, it makes no sense to eat animal products. As a human being. As a cat, like, I'm gonna have a cat one day, I think, because I really like cats. For sure, I'm gonna have to get my cat meat, just because, they're cats and they need the certain amino acids and stuff, and they're cats, they're not human beings. Just other aspects of it too. Oh yeah, so yeah, in a larger context, I think I've kind of just formulated this for myself. It's just something that I thought for a long time. I think from a self-aware point of view, as a single life, you can recognize that you're conscious. And so consciousness means that you're aware, and you're also sentient. And being sentient means that you're able to perceive and feel things. So as a human being, you can understand that. You know that you are, for sure. And of course, whenever you build relationships with people you love, you can see that they also are conscious and sentient. And you know how bad suffering feels for yourself. So I feel like it's just a very natural thing to understand that with your choices, I think a big responsibility in this world is to cause as little suffering as possible. Of course, some suffering is going to be inevitable. Just because that's the way life is, it's complicated. There's a lot of cause and effects that you just can't prevent. But whenever you can, it just makes the most sense to try to cause the least amount of suffering as possible. And I think that's what humanity has tried to do for millennia is try to evolve in a sort of way that improves well-being. Of course, we've tried to do that with human beings, try to improve the well-being of human beings and reduce suffering as much as possible. That fly is right there. But now we also have the science too to show that animals also are conscious and sentient. And see, this is the thing too. I'm not saying that an animal is worth as much as a human being. They're definitely not. I'm not an idiot. See, yeah, that's another thing that crazy vegans try to perpetuate, is they try to say that an animal's life is worth as much as a human's life. And no, that's not true. We have a much greater ability to be conscious and to be sentient. And in that way, we have more worth. Just like an animal has more worth than a blade of grass, just because a blade of grass isn't sentient or conscious. But we have the science to show that animals are sentient and conscious. They can perceive and feel things. So to cause unnecessary suffering to them whenever you don't have to, it just doesn't make any sense. And I think that's something that humanity, it actually, like, right now in the culture, I think we're starting to focus on that. And if you look at the growth of veganism in the last few years, it's actually pretty promising. And if you look at the growth of certain brands like Beyond Meat, that's also very promising. So that's good. And I think humanity is starting to focus on reducing suffering for all conscious beings and all sentient beings. And this is actually interesting too, because you can get into the argument of abortion with this sort of stuff. That's kind of how I've looked at it as well. This argument of abortion is, well, what is the sentience of the fetus? And this is, I'm not going to get into it now because I'm not educated enough, but that's a very good way to look at it, I think. It's, are we causing suffering? Are we causing suffering, or are these just cells? Just like there's bacteria cells or plant cells, and they're alive, but they're not able to perceive and feel pain. So yeah, I think that's how I've looked at it, is that sentient beings, conscious beings, that's what has value. And an important thing, I think, for a human being to recognize the value of other animals, I think, is to spend enough time paying attention to other animals. And like I said, I didn't have any pets growing up. I really wasn't around animals like at all, but I guess just the few interactions with animals I saw, like, I feel like I didn't even have to look that much at the science. You could just tell, like, they're sentient, they're conscious, they can feel pain. I mean, they have memory. Obviously, they're not as intelligent as us, they don't have the same capabilities, but there's still something there. It's not just worthless. So why should I just hurt that for no reason, But it is easier whenever you spend enough time around animals. And I've heard a lot of stories of people who, like, spent time around ducks, and they realize, like, oh, they even have, like, personalities, and they like them, and then they stop eating chicken and stuff like that, because they realize they have a connection almost with an animal, because it's at least intelligent enough to do that. I guess I'll think about it for a second if I have anything else to say, but I think I'm close to the end, really. Oh man, almost 30 minutes. This was a long one. And hopefully I didn't backtrack too much and talk about the same thing too many times. There's a lot of people walking by, and that kind of distracted me. I think you could probably tell during the video. Yeah, I guess overall, I already kind of said it, but I would just say that that's one of the most sensible things to do, is to eat more plant-based. And it was kind of crazy to me years ago that how many people still eat animal products when they don't have to. And I'm not talking about people in extreme situations, but just the average everyday person in modern society. It was shocking to me, because it looks like eating plant-based is the most optimal way to live, just looking at all the information. Yeah, I guess that's it. Okay, and just kind of like a personal thing to say for me, I already mentioned it a little bit, but I've never acted like cutesy, or I don't know how to say it really, but just changing your voice and like kissing animals and stuff like that, and just acting like super like that didn't describe it at all. You know what I mean, like how you treat like a little kid. Like, I've never acted that way around animals at all. Just, I was kind of like confused why people do that. I don't know, I guess it's fun. Yeah, like I said, like, it seems so contradictory. It seems so contradictory to me that these people are showing this much affection and love to one animal like this, and just somehow the eating animals don't mean a thing. I really don't understand that. But yeah, so like a personal thing for me is I've always enjoyed being outside and watching animals, though. I really enjoy that. Yeah, that's how I like animals. I really love the zoo. I hope to like visit a savanna one day, honestly, because like I said, I really like cats. And one thing I like doing on YouTube is watching a lot of like lion videos or tiger videos or leopard videos. I really like those big cats. So one day, like going on a savanna trip or something and just seeing those animals in their natural environment. I'm not gonna be one of those people that like becomes a part of the lion pride and like just cuddles with them and stuff. That's insane. If you guys have seen Dean Schneider, I love watching his videos. Those are so cool. Those are so cool. Also, the way he keeps his lions is very good. I respect that a lot. I think that's wonderful. Those videos are really entertaining to me. But like I said, yeah, I would love to just see those animals in person, because they're cool. And yeah, I love animals in that way as well. Yeah, I guess that's it. Okay, one more thing. I think it's also funny to think of it in the aspect of, well, even if you don't love something, even if you don't love someone, I think the bare minimum is not killing them or making them suffer for no reason. You don't have to be all cutesy and change your voice and all those things, but at least like just don't kill them or make them suffer for no reason. That's what I thought years back. For a few years back then, whenever I was 15 or 16. So yeah, hopefully this video provided some sort of value. Well, it might upset a few people, maybe put their panties in a twist. You know, I'm thinking of making a video eventually titled just "Fuck You." I think that's gonna be a really fun video to make. Oh, there's a loud ass truck back there. But I think I tried as best as I could to try to not make it offensive, to just try to be fair, look at it just for what it is. And yeah, I hope it was educational, or it was just entertaining to see my thoughts about veganism, or to hear my personal aspects of it. And yeah, that's it. Okay, I also just thought that yeah, there's so many aspects to this that I can talk about. I'm sure like I'll continue to just think of things that I could have said, just because it's a very big topic with a lot of parts to it. But it's very interesting. That's why I like it. And I liked it a lot back then. But anyway, I just thought of the aspect of religious people as well, and how hypocritical some things can be with regards to them and animals. and the concept of God and how much suffering you're causing to God's creations, maybe you could say. And yeah, this is something that I'm gonna I'm stepping into some dangerous territory, you know, some sensitive territory, but I think I'll just leave it there. You can probably see whatever I'm trying to say. And I'm not trying to attack anyone in specific, but just looking at it like that, it doesn't make any sense. So it's something that's important to point out to try to improve people. So yeah.